Brings us to our topic today. Keep it simple, back to the basics. Talk about three fundamental forgotten principles of lean. Lean is about people, not techniques. Lean is a mindset, not a tool set. Lean is a journey, not a destination. And we'll dive deep into each one of these. So say you are a coach. I give you two choices. I have this wonderful basketball made by the best manufacturer in the world. I have this best basketball player. You can pick one. Which one would you pick? It's a crazy question, right? It's a gimme. Okay? Basketballs don't win basketball games. It's the players who win the games, correct? Similarly, lean is not won by the tool set. It's won by our people. So if I were to ask you, why is our organization in business? The most common answer is making profits, or non-profits say we want adequate surplus so we can keep going. Would you agree? That's the core sense of a business. So let's go a little deeper. We are going deep into different things. This is a great thing to go dive deeper into because lean cannot be successful if a corporation is not successful. So we need to understand the DNA of a corporation in order to understand why lean is failing. Utilizing the existing corporate model. Profits come from our customers, paying customers. Satisfied customers is who give us the payment. They will pay you only when you give them something of value. So it can be a manufacturing or it can be service. Let's say we are focusing on manufacturing. Any manufacturing has an upstream or a downstream process, which is supported by materials, by equipment, infrastructure, and people. Is this the entire model, or are we missing something in this? This is very important, guys.
Waste.
Waste. Who said that? You've seen my presentation. Mr. Timmy Wood. When I ask Mr. Timmy Wood, does he work? How many of you, I can tell you that Timmy Wood works in your corporation. Can you tell me yes or no? Yes, he does. Timmy Wood is nothing but this monster, 8-headed monster, which is transport, inventory, motion, energy, waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, and defects. Or we can call him Mr. Muda. We have one more inhabitant in our factory called Mr. Variation, aka Mr. Mura. These are the well-known inhabitants of any corporation. Would you agree? So this is a realistic model. You see what happens when Muda and Mura play a role? Puts people under stress. And when that happens, your profit margins will go down. Would you agree? That's not all. Wait, there's more. There are external pressures too. Would you agree that there's Wall Street, shareholders, global competition, uncertainty, economic downturn affecting all of us? Would you agree to that? This looks very complex because it is. That's our corporation. Look at the level of complexity we have created. What is the result of this? Your profit margins are already small. What is the easy way out? Let go of the people. Would you agree? Workforce is shrinking. What happens to the people? This is what happens. Corporate beings under pressure. They have a total loss of control. This is what happens. Stress and fear. Would you agree? When you have stress and fear, you have disengagement. How can you expect them to be performing at their full potential when they are disengaged? So we do not have two amigos. We have three amigos in our corporation. Mr. Muda, Mr. Mura, and Mr. Disengaged, Mr. Muri. By the size, you can tell that Mr. Muri overshadows the other two. Would you agree? But it goes unrecognized in most corporations. So there's a lot of research being done of who is susceptible most to stress. There's research done on primates as well as human beings. So this is a very critical research for all of us. This is a hierarchical chart. Who do you think is most susceptible to stress? CEO or the operator? Anyone else? Operator or CEO? How many for CEO? How many for operator? Wow. I dabble a lot in neuroscience and understanding the brain. So this is part of the research done, is that the CEO, when they do a brain scan of a CEO, an area in the brain lights up. Whenever they experience some pleasure or some things which gives them joy, that area lights up bright. Okay. Whereas when a subordinate's brain is subjected to things which can create joy, nothing happens. Nothing happens. It's dull. The connectors in their brain are fragile. The neurons have shrunk down. They cannot make those connections now. The dopamine in their brain no longer exists. This is the impact of stress. This is a permanent damage. When we want to make most profits, what is important to us? Do you want the best equipment, the best people? Do you want people to be performing at the best? He's saying not only are we losing memory, even our decisions are not correct under stress.
Scientists studying mice are discovering all that stress can make us forget things or lead to other mental lapses. Mice are good but reluctant swimmers and can easily remember the location of a subsurface platform. But after hearing a series of stressful sounds, the mice have a harder time remembering. The University of Washington's Jen-Sok Kim has learned how stress affects the brain's ability to process information. He did that by listening to the hippocampus, part of the brain involved in learning and memory. He found that the same brain cells fired when the mouse identified a location and returned to it. But when the mouse was stressed,
following stress, the cell that fired in a particular location still fired at the same location, but tend to fire at a different frequency.
As he wrote in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, Kim also found that stress slowed the brain's ability to connect brain cells that form memories and more.
It's not just memory, but how that memory is used for other higher cognitive functions, such as decision making.
In lean community, why do we keep talking about the Muda and Mura? Where is Muri? I'll tell you a real life example. One of my friends was working for a startup company, and the amount of stress he was going through caused him to collapse one day, and they rushed him to the hospital. His body was completely deformed. He could not walk. He could not even lift anything. Doctor said this is due to chronic stress. This was 30 years ago. He had to go through intense therapy. Even today, although he can walk, you can see the signs of that damage. So this is pretty serious business. But it is not only impacting human beings, it is impacting corporations. The employee engagement today, this is the study done by Tower Perrin, 21% employee engagement, 79% disengaged. Study shows that if you have a workforce which is engaged, you have 19% more profit, versus if you're disengaged, 33% loss. That swing is 50%. That's a pretty significant swing. Now you see the complexity and the chaos. But there is more, right? We didn't include Mr. Murray in there. What happens when you add the stress to the equation of the previous model is that the employees are truly cannot perform, and not only will the customers leave, you also have dissatisfied customers. So you started out to make money, but that's not possible with the current situation. How many of you feel that this is a true representation? Be honest. This is what happens. So I'm saying this model is incorrect. We need to get back to the basics, understand the essence of corporations, simplify. One of the articles I wrote, things do not appreciate, only people do. Economic downturns, time to pull employees up, not push them down. Great leaders understand that this economic crisis is a burning platform. It's a ready-made burning platform, and they can tap into the creativity of people. And creative people can do things beyond their own imagination. So motivated creativity is nothing but innovation. What we are doing is we are breaking down the foundation of our building. Whenever there is trouble, we let go employees, we break down the pillars. We break down the foundation. And research has shown the people who have invested in their own talents and own employees during that time have got a 200% return on their investment. That's the right model. The thing is, great leaders know that the only area where you can really have the best performance is the zone of pinnacle performance. Just like top athletes, they always are stretched slightly beyond their capacity, not completely extended so that they collapse. A great leader knows how to do that correctly and keep their employees growing. Here is the difference between a corporate being and a human being. If we follow this model of avoiding workhorses and creating racehorses, do you think we'll get a better corporation today? So lean is truly about people. So model of a true lean organization, if we had a blank sheet of paper and we start from fresh, this is what we have seen, the basics of a foundation. There is still the profit. We still want to make profit. We still have people who are stressed. What can we do? Let's get rid of that. Let's develop leaders. Let's develop people. Toyota says hitozukuri is the goal, not monozukuri. Hitozukuri is making people. Monozukuri is making things. Those people, those leaders, will not only satisfy customers but delight your customers because they are full of joy. They are at the peak. They are at the pinnacle of performance. As a byproduct, your profits will double. Is this feasible? Much better model. Win-win. Would you agree?